Hi y'all, it's Stephanie and welcome back to Yaya's Reading Nook. Today I'm going to go over what I read for April and May because I remembered that I had forgot to do a April wrap up. So April was a goodie month. April was a pretty good month. I finished one half of a book and then I started on the other half. I got my Parnassus Book Club book read before the book club. And I also picked up one that I've had for a while and want to read it. So we're going to talk about the Parnassus Book Club first. It was Heartwood by Amity Gage. This is about a lieutenant named Beverly. She is like a forest ranger with the National Park Service, and she is living in Maine at the time, and she's over the this area of the Appalachian Trail. And a woman named Valerie, who's known on the trail as Sparrow, goes missing. And Beverly is tasked to find her. And what we see with this is we see Beverly trying to manage this one last thing. She's getting ready to retire. We see this older woman, Lena, who's in an assisted living home, who's talking to someone she thinks is as old or older than she is. And she thinks they're out there trying to find Valerie, when in reality, the person is a 21, 22-year-old kid who is schizophrenic and actually kidnaps Valerie on the trail, holds her basically hostage for a couple of days, and then he leaves her a note telling her how to get out of the area where they're at because he's booby-trapped everything. Then we've got a man named Santos. He's about Valerie's age, early 30s. And he's this huge, big black guy who has a really hard relationship with his father. And he's decided he wants to walk the trail, A, to show his father he can do it, and B, to lose weight, which would be a good reason to hike the Appalachian Trail. Other than you're just crazy. And then we've got Valerie's parents and Valerie's ex-husband. Now he is the first one they all look at because he's the ex-husband. But he says, no, it was an amicable breakup. We're still good friends. I go to where she wants to be at when night falls and either pick her up or, usually he picks her up and they go spend the night at a hotel because she doesn't like sleeping outside. She doesn't like the dark. And her parents come in because, Valerie's their child. They want to know what's going on. So they decide to help look for her. Her mom's passing out flyers and her dad's doing everything he can do. And then we see Beverly and her relationship with her mom and her two sisters. Her mom has dementia, so she doesn't really know anybody that well anymore. She's got one sister that takes care of her mom and another one that helps out. So it's just a whole family. You think you're reading about just the people trying to find her, which you are. A lot of this is just people trying to find her. There's also interviews, like police interviews with Santos and one of the other rangers. There's interaction between Beverly and her sisters and her mom, or she's trying to interact with her mom. And there's interaction between Beverly and Valerie, aka Sparrow's family. So you see a lot of family dynamics going on. I didn't see anything bad with it. I think I gave it a 4 because at times it would drag along. I just wanted the whole part with the schizophrenic guy, I didn't think was really necessary. With Lena, I don't think was really necessary. Maybe we could have used what would probably have been approximately 20 to 30 pages about the guy, maybe less, talking about Valerie and, what she's going through as she's out in the wilderness, basically, and what she's thinking, how she's trying to react, how she's trying to, just make it one day at a time, because they're like, after 2 or 3 days, we usually find them dead. Now, what I did not know was this is a book kind of based on an actual thing that happened in Tennessee about maybe 15, 20 years ago, where a young woman went missing on the Appalachian Trail, only to be found a couple years later dead. She was murdered. Fortunately for Valerie, she was not. But I gave it, I want to say a 4. It was good. I just kind of like went slow for a little bit. So the next one I read was Riley Sager's With a Vengeance. I enjoyed this book very much. I know there's a lot of people that didn't enjoy it, thought it was too long, thought it was not on track because it's supposed to be kind of like a take on Murder on the Orient Express. And, you know, they were on a train, but they were in Chicago to Philadelphia. And what has occurred is this young girl named Anna has decided she's going to take out revenge on the people that she thinks basically killed her parents. Her father had built a railroad, the Phoenix, whatever. And his rival got some people to help him basically redo stuff on the train cars and such, to go in there and redo some of the calculations where it would crash. And it crashed. And it killed not only her brother, who was military, but some other military people as well. And she finds out that her dad's secretary, that had been his secretary for eons, was in on it. Her nanny, her former nanny, was in on it. And there was a couple other people, like one of the men that worked with her dad, designing this railroad, was in on it. So she's got these 5 people that she wants on the train. And once she gets them on the train, they are going to be taken to Chicago, where they will meet the feds. And the feds will take them to jail. And that's her payback, because her father was put in prison and died in prison. Her mom offed herself, and her brother was killed. So she wants these 5 people to get their payback too. What she doesn't know is one of them's a killer for real. She brings a man with her named Seamus, and he is there because his brother was also killed on the first train, on the train that, you know, a bunch of people were killed on. And he wants vengeance for his brother too. And they're kind of semi in a relationship. I couldn't really tell if they were or not. You know, there wasn't any romance in this one, I'll tell you that one. But, yeah, I really liked it. I liked the whole we're in one place and can't get out type of thing. I've never read something like that. I've watched Murder on the Orient Express with Johnny Depp. Raleigh got a 4-star. I really liked it. I liked the ending. I liked the mystery of who was the killer. And, you know, the killer was there in plain sight. They just never saw him. Okay, so the book that I did finish, and if you watched my last video, you will know I'm doing a Read Like My Coworkers, and one of my coworkers read the Fourth Wing series. Now, I don't read fantasy. Not gonna happen. So I listened to it, and I love the first one. I started the second one in March and finished it in April. It was Onyx Storm. I can see why people didn't like this. This is what I think. There was so much spice in this thing that the whole world should have collapsed, and Xaden, whose dad was basically executed by Violet's mother for forming a rebel and trying to, you know, off the mom, they're so deep into each other that they can't function away from each other. Xaden will do stuff, and Violet they can talk to each other mentally, and they'll shut each other down mentally. There was a lot of that going on in here too. It was just like, Jesus, can we ever get to anything? Are you going to fight anybody? What's your dragon up to? And Darnia, the baby dragon, is now a silly teenager in this one. And she's snarky, and I like that. I actually like the book. I gave it like 3 3/4 stars. I gave the first one 4. And then I started on Iron Flame, because I'm a girl who just cannot listen to 2 books of a 3-book series. I gotta hear them all. I started this in April, finished it up in May, so this is part of my May. We did get a lot of fighting in this one. We also got to see Xaden at his broodiest when he's so upset about he's gonna turn Venom and he's one of the bad guys and he loves Violet, but he doesn't want Violet to be with him, and Violet's like, no, I'm gonna find and care for you, over and over and over. In the end, like I said in my video about this, Rebecca Yarros did me wrong. Maybe I'm not the right kind of person to read fantasy, but in the end, everything's cool. The war has been won. Violet wakes up with a ring on her hand because Xaden did say he wanted to marry her. He did say she would be the next Duchess of whatever land he lived in. But we see no Xaden. Do we know, did Xaden turn? Did Xaden not turn? I don't know, because nobody told me. Anyway, it was a 4-star. Could have been better. Seriously, could have been better. So as we're going into May, for May's book club at Parnassus, we read The Friday Afternoon Club by Griffin Dunn. And this is about his family and growing up when he did. His father was the Vanity Fair reporter for true crime Dominick Dunn, and his sister Dominique was in the movie Poltergeist. Now, when we open up, we first find out, and this is no spoiler, it's a prologue, and it talks about this, that, and the other thing, and then we found out my sister was dead. So then he goes to like his life growing up, how he was kicked out of the regular school system, and they sent him to boarding school, and then he went to school in Colorado, and he wanted to be an actor, and he was doing really well. He was going to be the lead in Othello, and him and a friend got high smoking pot, and the dean of the school told him, if you say that he did it, you can be Othello, you can go on. If you don't, you're going to get kicked out. And good old Griffin, he's going to take one for the team. And he got kicked out of school the night before he was supposed to play Othello. Well, some of this talks about his father and his father's early years. I never thought about it, but Dominick Dunn was married to his wife, Lenny, for a good long, 10, 12 years. But he was gay. But his dad was abusive to him, but not his brother. I think this is his brother, John. And that's Dominic. It's Dominic. And there's John. There's Griffin over here. And this is Joan Didion. Is that how you say Didion? She was, and her little daughter, her and John's daughter, she married Dominick Dunn's brother, John, before she was a famous writer, but she was writing stuff and sending it in, I guess, to other places. Somebody did a lot of deep dives, like going down the rabbit holes at book club. I don't do that. I just read the book. Anyway, it was really good. It was a family memoir. Why it was named the Friday Afternoon Club, the facilitator asked everyone that. And I said, I think it was kind of an homage to his sister, because she had friends that would gather on Friday afternoon, and they called it the Friday Afternoon Club. Dominic was killed by her ex-boyfriend. She was running lines for a movie, I think, with another guy, and the boyfriend showed up, and she's like, I'm just going to step outside and tell him, please go, we've broken up. And the guy locks her out of the house, and so she dies. And it goes through her mom's many miscarriages or stillbirths. She had miscarriages and stillbirths. All Dominick Dunn wanted was 9 kids, and then she could do whatever. They got 3 that lived. She was a heavy smoker. She became a heavy drinker, I believe. Griffin was a drinker, a drugger, and everything. He was best friends with Carrie Fisher for the longest time. And he knew all these people. Sean Connery saved him from drowning when he was a child. But yeah, you go into the real Hollywood. This is the way the kids lived. This is the way the parents were. I think Dominic Dunn originally wanted to go into like film and stuff. He became a producer. But when his daughter died, he was living in a cabin because he had lost everything. Living in a cabin in Oregon. And he started writing a piece for Vanity Fair. He was going to send to Vanity Fair about his daughter's death. And he had sent something else to him, and they said, well, if you write about your daughter's death, you will probably become one of our writers. And that's what he did for the longest time. Now, for the longest time, Dominique knew that her dad was gay, because she actually introduced him to his significant other, his in secret significant other, and no one really knew for a long time. Griffin's brother Alex had a lot of mental problems. He had mental breakdowns. He was psychotic. He was at times I thought schizophrenic. He was bipolar. He was manic depressive. You name it, that was him. Now, did I like this book? To score it, I really like this book. It would get a little slow and repetitious about Griffith Dunn sleeping with all these girls, and Griffith Dunn going out and partying with all these people, and him and Carrie Fisher, you know, talking about all these people in Hollywood. That got a little redundant, but I think it was in there for the purpose of letting people know this is what the rich people do. But Griffin Dunn, I did not know, has been in a lot of shows and movies. I'm going to have to look this sucker up and see if I can figure out what movie to watch or what TV show to watch. I can't remember. Bosch is the name of the TV show. He was in like one of the seasons, the whole season. Now, he does not look this young. He looks way older. He's older than I am. Probably by about 8 or 10 years. So anyway, will I rate this? No. Why? Because I don't rate nonfictions. I don't rate memoirs. I don't rate autobiographies. Because that is the person's story of their life that they're telling. I cannot say, Griffin, you would have had a 5-star out of me had you left this out or had you put more of this in. Because the book's already been written. Sorry, not going to do it. Anyway, I liked it. Didn't love it. But I really like seeing how people back in the 60s, 70s, early 80s were. As far as Hollywood and all that good stuff. The next one I actually listened to. It just kind of jumped on my, what do I have? Not Libby, Hoopla app one day. And it's Coming in Hot by Deanie Ray. And this is about a young woman who's in her 30s, her early 30s. She was raised by her grandmother. And her grandmother and she were in a biker gang, or affiliated with the biker gang. And the police came in and raided their home one day and said, you know, you can either testify against this gang and we'll put you in witness protection, or you can just go to jail and we're not going to care what happens. So Grandma, since she's the one that was working with the biker gang, the daughter just kind of knew them, said, okay, I'll testify against them. Put me and my granddaughter in wet sag. So she's, for a year, a little over a year, they were moving in and out of hotels. But now they have settled in Bitter End, Florida, and the retirement community of Bitter End. And they get there, and they're both in their jeans and their leathers and cowboy boot or leather, whatever boots people wear to ride a Harley. They have had to give up their motorcycles. Granny's had to change her hair color from orange to a blondish look. They've had to change their last name. They've had to get whole new identities, and this is where they end up at. They're not too happy about it because it's a lot of old people, and it's Florida, which, if you know, Florida can be hot and muggy. They like the coolness of the mountains. But they knew, or they were told, if they went to the mountains, people that might be looking for them would go to every place they could think of and probably find them and kill them. So where's the other place to go? Down south. Now, I'm from the south. I'm from Alabama. I'm from the Gulf Coast. It gets hot and muggy in like March sometimes. So this was just really funny. The first day they're there, they see this woman. They've taken like a little drive around, and everybody has a golf cart. It's required for driving around the place. And they come up and they see their next door neighbor slapping this man on the ground. And she's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. So they get off and go over. And they're both thinking this isn't a good idea, but they go over anyway. And they're like, he's dead. He's been stabbed. So the next door lady, I think her name is Edith. They call her Edie. She freaks out. Police are called. Granny and Piper have to give a statement. Hopefully, no one will check up on them. And Edie's grandson, Riker, comes up on a motorcycle. So they're kind of involved in helping Edie find out who did this, because the police are looking at her. Who did this, why they did it, and Granny and Piper are trying to keep themselves far enough away from Riker that he won't start questioning things. But Grandma cannot give up her wily ways. She may wear a muumuu, but she's going to wear her biker boots. She's going to carry her gun, which she ain't supposed to have, because in WITSEG, Witness Protection Program, you're not supposed to have weapons, apparently. I don't know. I'm not at WITSEG. She's not going to give that up. She's not going to give up her poker plan, which in the book I'm listening to now, the second book, well, this book too, she starts teaching the old people there how to play poker. And they have a disco night. It's a party one night. And that's when Granny starts teaching people. And there's a little man there named Leonard. And he is enthralled with Granny. He wants to be Granny's bestest friend. Like, really best friend. Anyway, this was a cute one. I gave it a 4. I liked it. I've never seen this author before. She just kind of like popped up. So I'm wondering if maybe she's an indie author. Because I look for her on, I don't remember what platform I looked on her on, and she wasn't even on it. But I did get these books from Amazon. I liked them. I think there's like 8 so far. I've got the first one and the second one. I'm listening to the second one, but I may break down and read it. I don't know. Anyway, it was a cute one. Loved it. So I finished this one, touched that one, read that one. And then I read one that just gut punched me. I'm not an emotional person, really. My mom and dad both died. I was there when my dad died. No emotion. There when my mom, well, I wasn't there when my mom died. I got the phone call. Had to go down there. It's part of life. They're both in heaven. Good for them. But this book, Before We Were Yours by Lissa Wingate, brought some kind of emotions out in me. Sorrow, unhappiness, terrified for what these kids were going through, extreme anger at the whole situation. This book centers around 2 timelines. One in I don't remember what it was, the original one was, but there's a family that live on a boat. They're called riverboat people. The kids are called river rats. And when the story opens up, the mom is in labor again. She's already got 5 kids. And the woman that's there to deliver the baby is just yelling at her husband saying, you've got to take her to a hospital. She's having twins. One of them is breech. I can't do anything. So she walks out and leaves. And the dad goes and gets a friend, and they come back with a teenage boy. And they say, Silas is going to help watch the kids. Real. You watch your brother and sisters. Taking your mom to the hospital to have this baby. or babies. So the kids hunker down on the boat and go to sleep, and the next morning here come people to take them off the boat. And they're like, well, are you going to take us to our mom and dad? And they're like, yeah, we'll take you to your mom and dad. Eventually, your mom's in the hospital. She's really tired, and your dad's with her, but we're going to take you to this place that these people will look after you while they're there, until it's time for them to get you. And so, okay, we'll go. Her sister Camilla didn't want to go, and she actually jumped through the hole of the little outhouse thing. So she stunk up the whole car. They drive a ways, and then they meet this woman she's all nice and pretty in a nice car, and she's like, oh, blondes, we got places for them. And they're like, what the heck? But she's Georgia Tam, and she takes them to the orphanage where they're going to be. It was the Tennessee Children's Home Society was the name of the place that she ran. And now Georgia Tam, I did look up some stuff on her, was basically evil. She would kidnap children from the street, from their homes, from like a yard. If they were walking to school, she kidnapped kids that way. Well, we've got the timeline of present, and there's a young woman named Avery. She's in her 30s, and she is a prosecuting attorney in New York, and her parents live in North Carolina, and so they go down there. She goes down to help her dad, who is a senator. He got some troubles. He's been ill, and the biggest thing is people are mad about the nursing home situations. They're not very good. People aren't taken care of. There's not enough people working there. And his mother, who has dementia, who is Avery's grandmother, is in a really nice assisted living facility. So he's battling that back and forth. But when we're looking at the Children's Home Society in the 1920s, I think it was open from mid to late 20s to the 50s. We see these children going through a lot of bad stuff. They are fed in the morning and kicked outside. When they have a bath, they all line up, they strip, and they're scrubbed. When the kids first come in, they're put in the basement where it's cold, draft, nasty, damp. And there is a man who works at the place. He's the engineer. His name is Mr. Riggs, and he is the brother of the woman that runs the place. Because Georgia Tam, all she does is kidnap the kids and take them there. And he is basically an SA. He abuses these kids. And one day, Real and her sisters Fern and Lark and her baby brother Gabion are taken to Georgia Tam's home, which is big, beautiful, and they're supposed to be nice to all the grown-ups who come in. She doesn't take Camilla because Camilla is not a blonde. She's brown-headed. And she pretty much knows that Camilla's going to be a troublemaker, and Camilla's not what they're looking for, so Camilla can't go. Well, while the kids are gone, Camilla is assaulted by Mr. Riggs, and when she starts to tell anyone, she gets into trouble. They take her out and put her in a closet, and the next thing we know, she's gone. And Real's like, where's my sister? No one will tell her. Anyway, this goes on to, her little sister Fern gets adopted. Lark and Gabion are adopted right away. They don't even go back to the home. So it's just Real and Fern. And Fern gets adopted, and they decide they're going to bring her back because she wets the bed and cries for Real, which her name now is May. So they come back and they adopt May too. And these people are wealthy, to some degree. Anyway, this book got to me. I almost cried. It's about the Tennessee Children's Home Society. It's about a woman named Georgia Tam. True story, true woman. And she was just an evil woman. She would take babies from mothers who just had babies if they were single moms or the family was poor. she would have them give her the baby, the doctors give her the baby, and they would tell them the baby died, or whatever else they wanted to tell them. And if a mom was single and she found out about it, she would send the people in to say, well, you're not fit to have a baby in your house. You need to sign over the rights and possibly sign over the rights of your children. Just go ahead and sign it over anyway. So that's the way she worked. And she made thousands of dollars from this. In the book, there's this one family that has adopted these two little girls on the front, and she comes back a day or so later and says, you need to give me $3,000 more, maybe $4,000 more. And the woman's like, we've given you everything we have. And she goes, well, when I come back, if you don't have it, I'm going to have to take the kids back. You know, that's the way she was. And there was a professional wrestler. I don't think he still wrestles anymore. He did in the 90s a lot, in early 2000s. And his name is Ric Flair. And apparently Mr. Flair was one of these kids at this Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanages. Anyway, this is a 5-star read. This is my only 5-star read. I've had it on my shelves for ever since it came out. And I decided, because Carly she's becoming bookish, had it for April's read, I think. So I started it in April. I just put it down for some reason. April was a crazy month. So anyway, let's see if we can hold all these up. These all I read for April and May. What am I reading now? Well, I'm listening to Fool Me Once by Deanie Day. This is book 2 in the Piper Harris mystery series. I'm listening to that. I'm reading Best Little Motel in Texas. About halfway through. I hope it gets better. I mean, it's pretty good. And that's about it. I think I'm going to break my TBR jar out. And I wrote down every book I have in my room that I have not read. So I think I'm going to pick a TBR. I never do, because I never read it. But I think I'm going to pick a TBR. Anyway, if you guys stuck around this long, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload a video. And I hope you guys have a really good rest of your May, and that you'll come back and see me soon. Thanks. Bye.